Attention needs to be drawn to the fact that most of the professional creationists out there are outright lying to you. I used to be a young earth creationist. I taught it in church and to youth groups. You may be surprised to find out that one of the major factors in my leaving this particular belief system was the creationist leaders themselves. In this video, I would like to outline some of the lies, dishonest tactics, incompetence, and inexcusable ignorance of those who had set themselves up as leaders, who had cast aspersions on genuine knowledge.
Welcome to Earth.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
If you like adventure, then join our team exploring mysteries few have seen.
Buddy Davis, who will henceforth be referred to as Buddy Buddy, is one of the worst creationists for exaggeration and bad information. Hideous talk singing notwithstanding.
The very first death was a result of man's rebellion against God. So there couldn't have been any fossils until after sin. Because to have fossils, you've got to have death. So the theory just falls apart.
Oh, okay. He just disproved evolution right there. Wow. So there aren't any fossils, or they're not real, or the devil put them there. Or does he think he just proved that fossils are only less than 6,000 years old? I can't even...
An animal's sharp teeth doesn't tell you how it behaved or what food it ate, just that it had sharp teeth.
Just as it takes a sharp knife to cut through tough vegetation, so those sharp teeth on a T-Rex would have been perfectly designed for cutting through plants. See, dinosaurs were originally designed to be vegetarians.
T-Rex ate grass. You couldn't be more... I couldn't figure out whether to put this under lying or incompetence. It's really both. I can't even describe how angry I was watching these videos over again. These people are deliberately sabotaging centuries of hard-won knowledge and damaging the minds of children for money and religious conformity. There are major differences between the teeth of herbivores and carnivores, and that's so obvious that it's too frustrating for me to outline those differences right now. Even as far back as the 17th century, not the 17th, the 18th century, Cuvier could tell whether an animal was a carnivore or herbivore by a single tooth. That is why he was convinced that animal forms were created, because he could take a single bone and see how it was optimized for survival, the major factor being gathering and consuming of food. He could tell by a single tooth if an animal ate meat or vegetation. Hundreds of years, people. We've known this stuff for hundreds of years. People like Buddy Buddy want to wind back the clock and take us back all the way to the days of ignorance. They didn't even know what was involved in the act of breathing back then. These people won't be happy until the church rules over science again. I can't even express how frustrating this is. Imagine if you had to study reams of video of smug flat earthers who were teaching children that the stars were only a few thousand miles above the earth and that modern medicine was all lies. That's how I feel right now. It's always been difficult for me to be verbose over the obvious. I would find it nearly impossible to make a 10-minute video explaining why 2 + 2 = 4.
Now, some people say that so-called prehistoric creatures, such as dinosaurs, didn't live at the same time as man did. Such creatures died out millions of years before man came around. But how do they know this?
How do they know? What do you mean, how do they know? They say how they know. There have been hundreds of years and an uncountable number of publications and videos and speeches and books. This question is the same as asking, how do they know germs cause disease?
But do you know that what he's been taught is not a fact?
The very essence of science is curiosity, asking questions, finding out the answers. Kids are fascinated by the answers. But these questions are meant to be the answers. They're meant to stop curiosity and inquisitive questions. It would be okay if a small child asked, how do they know? Or better yet, be specific, how do they know carbon dating works? There are very good answers. ones that touch on unbelievably cool aspects of the natural world, fossils and geologic processes, paleontology and ancient ecosystems, radioactivity and atomic theory, genetics and the inner workings of DNA. We live in the most amazing time in human history, the time when we can have the answers to these questions, and the answers are more amazing than we could have imagined. But these people would erase all that with a sneering question and religious dogmatism that we should have left in the Dark Ages.
Did you know that some paleontologists actually found some red blood cells in partially fossilized T-Rex bones?
Do you realize what that means? Yeah. Only that those bones couldn't be millions of years old, because red blood cells don't last that long.
And here come the lies like an avalanche. No red blood cells were found. The consensus after a battery of tests and examinations is that it was bacterial sludge that was boiled out of the fossils. But you won't see Buddy Buddy retracting any of this. Nope, he's making too much money off of the videos.
What an adventure it was. That we were searching for frozen dinosaur bones, and God was so good to us, we found and brought back over 200 pounds of dinosaur bones. 200 pounds of dinosaur bones here to be unfossilized. What an adventure indeed.
Yeah, but how can bones be unfossilized and millions of years old?
That's just it. Dinosaurs aren't millions of years old.
He outright lies to children here. He says that he has unfossilized dinosaur bones. This would be the biggest news in the history of paleontology, maybe in all of science. He would become famous, rich beyond his wildest dreams if this was true. But he hasn't produced these bones, and his lie is left in this children's video to pollute the minds of children for money. What a scumbag.
But Scaly, if it really happened that long ago, how can they be sure of anything? They weren't there.
But how do they know this? I mean, were they there?
Science can't deal directly with the past because the past can't be observed. That's because they dig up bones in the present.
Were you there? They repeat this over and over like it means something. This is one of the biggest lies of all, that science can't deal directly with the past. By just shaking their heads and repeating no, 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 they attempt to invalidate every branch of science and scientific discovery that has anything to do with the past. Forensics and crime scene investigation, specifically genetics and DNA and what it can tell us about interrelatedness and past events recorded in genes, astronomy and the speed of light, by which we know that we see galaxies as they were millions of years ago, all Earth science, especially including geology and plate tectonics, paleontology, we find bones but we can never know anything about them, so don't ask. Biology, genetics, laws of inheritance, adaptation and evolution, radioactivity, specifically radioactive decay, and, well, everything we've learned about atomic theory, cosmology, and everything we've learned about the universe. Not to mention the fact that time is relative to the observer. These pseudo-scientists want to take us back to a Newtonian worldview or pre-Newtonian worldview.